So let's do a quick word association game. So I'm going to give you a name, and you tell me the first thing that pops in your head. Talanoa Hufanga.
Hair.
I love that. Jimmy Ward.
Milk. It's because he needs to drink milk to stop breaking bones.
I remember that now from your podcast. I remember that. Mike McGlinchey.
Misunderstood.
All right.
I think he gets a lot of crap on the socials because of blown blocks. Yeah. And I wouldn't say that he's like a bad right tackle. He does have some issues anchoring against bull rushes. Like that's the thing that is problematic for him. But he's a really good run blocker, which this team obviously values. Mm-hmm. I do think that someone is probably going to pay him more money than he deserves, and that's great. But right tackles and tackles in general in the NFL are hard to find. Yeah. And I don't know that the Niners necessarily need to overpay him as a result, but I think that he's produced well for this team. And I think he gets, I'm not trying to say that he's like a, top 2 right tackle and, got to pay the man, but I do think he's often misunderstood because of the singular clip nature of things like Twitter.
Okay. Diamador Lenore.
Ooh, catch point.
All right.
So for me, his biggest issue was at the catch point. Mm-hmm. He was often in phase. He did some wonderful things, and then the ball came near him, and it was like it was like the last 10% that he couldn't. I mean, the flea flicker touchdown to AJ Green against the Cardinals. I was like, come on, man, he was there, and then he wasn't. There was a little bit of a push off, but that got better near the end of the year. He's got the interception against Dallas. I think he's a player to watch potentially, and as long as he can improve at the catch point. It could be a good player for the 49ers.
That is a great point. I had not seen that coming, but that was a great point. Javon Kinlaw.
Bust.
All right.
I think that was pretty clear.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you either. Trent Williams.
Oh man, he's such a good athlete. Like it's athleticism. And usually that's not a word that gets attached to someone who's as big as he is, but to do what he does, he's just a freakish athlete. And the reason he's so good is because he's not just a freak athlete, but he's also a technician. And even if he were 20% less athletic, he'd still be a good left tackle because of how technical he is. It's incredible to watch a man that size do the things that he does. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I like watching him throw people. I think that's always fun. Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, he's slick. He's slick and he's slippery. Yeah. He is someone who I think in a lot of other offenses he'd make your fantasy teams happy. And the only reason that's not the case here is because he's basically like the 4th option. And that doesn't mean he's not a good player, though. And especially this season, I think he went a little under the radar. Although I think he ended up leading the team in receiving yards and getting over 1,000. Yeah. So maybe it wasn't that under the radar. But he's just so slick. And there are just times that he puts defenders in a blender. He's another really good athletic player that I think the Niners drafted well. I think their evaluation held up. And he's a good player.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh man, that's a tough one. Also the first word that came to mind was bye. Only because I do think this is the end of the Jimmy Garoppolo era. But I don't mean that by disparagingly. I do think that it was the Niners found success with Garoppolo at quarterback. 2 NFC Championship games, 1 Super Bowl, all of which ended not the way the team wanted, but I think for any 5-year run, for any player, for any quarterback, that's a success. That is a success.